What if everything you thought you knew about Matt Roloff was only a small part of the story? Today, millions recognize Matt Roloff as the face of one of reality television's most famous families. They know him as the man behind Roloff Farms, the longtime star of Little People, Big World, and the father whose recent decisions have sparked intense debate among fans and family members alike. But behind the television fame lies a much deeper story. A story that begins years before the cameras arrived. A story filled with painful surgeries, overwhelming obstacles, financial risks, broken expectations, and an unwavering determination to succeed against the odds. While many viewers are focused on the emotional tensions surrounding the Roloff family today, few realize that Matt's life has been defined by challenges from the very beginning. Long before he became a television personality, he was fighting battles that most people would never experience. Doctors questioned what his future might look like. Physical limitations stood in his way. Yet time and again, Matt refused to accept the limits others placed on him. He pursued ambitious business ventures, chased opportunities that seemed impossible, and worked relentlessly to build a life that reflected his own vision. Along the way, he experienced major successes, painful setbacks, family struggles, and personal victories that helped shape the man viewers would eventually come to know. Now, as questions continue to surround the future of Roloff Farms, his relationships with family members, and the legacy he will leave behind, many fans are looking back and asking a fascinating question. Who was Matt Roloff before the fame, before the television cameras, and before Little People, Big World changed everything? The answer is far more surprising and far more inspiring than most people realize. From his difficult childhood to his rise as an entrepreneur, family patriarch, and reality television icon, this is the incredible untold story of Matt Roloff's life before fame. Matt Roloff's story began long before reality television fame, long before Roloff Farms became a household name, and long before millions of viewers tuned in each week to watch his family's journey. He was born on October 7, 1961, in California. From the moment he entered the world, doctors recognized that his life would be very different from that of most children. Matt was born with Diastrophic Dysplasia, a rare form of dwarfism that affects bone and cartilage development. The condition brought significant physical challenges and required constant medical attention throughout his childhood. For many families, receiving such a diagnosis would have been overwhelming. The road ahead was uncertain. There were questions about mobility, independence, and what kind of future their child might have. But Matt's parents refused to allow those challenges to define him. Throughout his early years, Matt underwent numerous medical procedures and surgeries designed to help improve his mobility and quality of life. While many children spent their days focused entirely on school, sports, and friendships, Matt often found himself facing hospital rooms, recovery periods, and physical obstacles that few of his peers could understand. The surgeries were painful. Recovery was difficult. Yet each challenge seemed to strengthen his determination. As he grew older, Matt developed a mindset that would eventually become one of his defining characteristics. Rather than focusing on what he could not do, he became fascinated by finding creative solutions for what he wanted to accomplish. That problem-solving mentality would later become one of the foundations of his success. Friends and family members often noticed that Matt possessed an unusually active imagination. He loved creating ideas, developing projects, and thinking about possibilities beyond his immediate circumstances. Even as a young boy, he wasn't content simply accepting limitations. He wanted to build. He wanted to create. He wanted to dream bigger. School presented its own set of challenges. Children can sometimes be unkind to anyone who appears different, and Matt certainly experienced moments when he stood out from those around him. Yet these experiences helped shape his resilience. Instead of allowing criticism or doubt to discourage him, he learned how to push forward despite adversity. Those lessons would prove invaluable later in life, when he faced public scrutiny, business setbacks, and personal conflicts under the spotlight of reality television. Looking back, it becomes clear that many of the traits viewers would later recognize on Little People. Big World were already developing during Matt's childhood. The persistence, the confidence, the willingness to take risks, the determination to prove doubters wrong. All of those characteristics were forged during years of overcoming obstacles that most people never have to face. And while the medical challenges were significant, they were only the beginning of Matt's journey. As he entered his teenage years, his ambitions continued to grow. He wasn't interested in living a small life. He wanted adventure. He wanted opportunity. And he wanted to show the world that physical limitations didn't have to determine a person's future. That mindset would soon lead him toward experiences that expanded his horizons far beyond anything he had imagined as a child. The next chapter of Matt Roloff's life would take him into adulthood, where he would begin pursuing careers, relationships, and dreams that would ultimately set the stage for the remarkable life millions would later watch unfold on television. Long before television, cameras followed his every move. Before the sprawling farm, the family business, and the reality television fame, Matt Roloff's story began with challenges that would have overwhelmed many people. Matt Roloff was born on October 7, 1961, in San Francisco. From the very beginning, his life was different from that of most children. Matt was born with a rare form of dwarfism known as Diastrophic Dysplasia, a genetic condition that affects bone and cartilage development. The condition created significant physical challenges that would shape much of his early life. Doctors quickly realized that Matt's journey would not be easy. Unlike many children who spend their early years exploring freely and learning through ordinary childhood experiences, Matt faced numerous medical obstacles almost immediately. His condition affected the growth and formation of his limbs and joints, making movement difficult and often painful. Throughout his childhood, hospitals became a familiar part of life. By the time many children were focused on playground games and school activities, Matt had already undergone multiple surgeries designed to improve his mobility and quality of life. Some reports indicate that he endured well over a dozen surgical procedures during his younger years. Each operation required recovery periods, physical therapy, and tremendous patience. For a child, these experiences could be frightening. Imagine spending weeks recovering from surgery while watching other children enjoy activities that seemed impossible to participate in. Yet even at a young age, Matt began developing the determination that would later become one of his defining characteristics. The physical challenges extended far beyond medical procedures. Simple tasks that many people take for granted often required extra effort and creativity. Walking long distances could be exhausting. Navigating buildings that weren't designed for individuals with dwarfism presented daily obstacles. Sports and physical activities were often more complicated than they were for his peers. There were also the social challenges. Children can be curious, and sometimes that curiosity can become insensitive. Growing up visibly different meant Matt frequently attracted attention wherever he went. He had to learn how to respond to questions, stares, and misunderstandings from an early age. Rather than allowing those experiences to define him negatively, they gradually helped build an unusual level of resilience. One of the most important influences during these difficult years was his family. Matt grew up in a household that encouraged him to pursue opportunities rather than focus exclusively on limitations. His parents worked to provide support while also fostering independence. They understood that protecting him from every challenge would not prepare him for adulthood. That balance proved incredibly important. Instead of constantly hearing what he could not do, Matt was encouraged to discover what he could accomplish. Family members helped him build confidence and self-belief during moments when it would have been easy to become discouraged. Their support created a foundation that allowed him to dream beyond his circumstances. As he grew older, Matt began showing signs of the ambitious personality that audiences would later recognize on television. Even as a young boy, he often demonstrated a willingness to tackle problems creatively. When obstacles appeared, he looked for solutions rather than excuses. Friends and family noticed that he possessed a strong sense of determination. If someone suggested something was impossible, Matt often became even more motivated to prove otherwise. This mindset would eventually become a recurring theme throughout his life. The challenges he faced, physically, also taught him valuable lessons about independence. Because everyday activities sometimes required adaptation, Matt learned to think differently. He became skilled at finding practical ways to accomplish tasks that others might never have needed to consider. These experiences strengthened his problem-solving abilities and encouraged self-reliance. Over time, the young boy who had spent so much of his childhood overcoming medical challenges began developing a powerful belief. Limitations did not have to determine the size of his dreams. That belief became the driving force behind many of his future accomplishments. While others may have focused on the difficulties associated with his condition, Matt increasingly focused on possibilities. The surgeries, the physical obstacles, and the social challenges had not broken his spirit. Instead, they had helped shape a person who refused to accept that his future should be defined by other people's expectations. As childhood gave way to adolescence, Matt carried those lessons with him. The resilience forged in hospital rooms, the confidence built through family support, and the determination developed through years of overcoming obstacles would soon propel him toward opportunities far beyond what many people might have imagined for a young boy facing such significant challenges. And as he entered his teenage years, it became increasingly clear that Matt Roloff was not interested in living a small life. He was already preparing to chase ambitions that would eventually take him far beyond the struggles of his childhood and onto a path that would change everything. As Matt Roloff moved through his school years, he faced many of the same challenges that other students encountered, but with additional obstacles that few of his classmates could fully understand. Living with diastrophic dysplasia meant that simple daily activities often required extra effort and determination. Yet rather than allowing those challenges to define him, Matt gradually developed a mindset that would shape the rest of his life. School became more than just a place for academics. It was where he learned how to navigate a world that was not always designed with his needs in mind. Every challenge forced him to think creatively and find solutions. Those experiences helped strengthen skills that would later become essential in business. While some people saw limitations, Matt was constantly searching for opportunities. During his teenage years, he began showing a growing interest in business and entrepreneurship. He was fascinated by the idea of creating something from nothing and finding innovative ways to solve problems. Friends and family members noticed that he often approached situations differently than others. Instead of focusing on what could not be done, he focused on what might be possible. This outlook became increasingly important as he prepared for adulthood. Many people with significant physical disabilities during that era faced low expectations from society. Opportunities were often limited, and assumptions about what they could achieve were common. Matt was determined not to accept those assumptions. He wanted to prove that his future would be defined by his abilities, not by other people's perceptions. As he entered the workforce, Matt gained valuable experience through a variety of jobs and professional opportunities. Each role taught him something different about communication, organization, and leadership. He paid close attention to how businesses operated and how successful people approached challenges. These lessons became a practical education that extended far beyond anything he could learn in a classroom. One of the most important discoveries Matt made during these early years was the value of persistence. Professional environments were not always accommodating, and there were times when people underestimated him before they had even met him. Instead of becoming discouraged, he used those moments as motivation. Every achievement became proof that determination and hard work could overcome many barriers. As his confidence grew, so did his willingness to take risks. He began developing a reputation as someone who could think outside the box. When problems emerged, Matt often approached them from unusual angles, finding solutions that others had overlooked. This creative mindset would later become one of his defining characteristics, both in business and in his personal projects. Colleagues and acquaintances increasingly recognized that Matt possessed a unique combination of ambition and imagination. He was not content with simply completing assigned tasks. He constantly looked for ways to improve systems, develop new ideas, and create opportunities where none seemed to exist. That entrepreneurial spirit became a driving force in his career. The business skills he acquired during this period laid the foundation for many of his future ventures. He learned how to negotiate, manage relationships, identify opportunities, and adapt to changing circumstances. Just as importantly, he learned how to present himself with confidence. The young man who had spent years overcoming physical challenges was now building the professional skills necessary to pursue much larger dreams. By the time these early career experiences began shaping his future, Matt had already established a pattern that would follow him throughout his life. Whenever obstacles appeared, he responded with creativity. Whenever people doubted him, he worked harder. And whenever opportunities emerged, he was willing to take chances that others might avoid. Those qualities would soon open doors to even bigger opportunities. The lessons learned during his education and early career years did more than prepare him for business success. They helped shape the ambitious, determined individual who would eventually become known to millions of television viewers. Before fame, before Roloff Farms, and before reality television entered the picture, Matt Roloff was already building the skills and mindset that would define the next chapter of his extraordinary journey. Long before cameras arrived at the Roloff farm, and before reality television transformed his life, Matt Roloff was already building a reputation as someone who refused to think small. Throughout his life, Matt had learned that many people expected him to accept limitations. Because of his physical condition, some assumed he would settle for a quiet life with modest goals. But Matt never viewed himself through the lens of what others believed he could or could not accomplish. As he entered adulthood, he became increasingly interested in business, innovation, and entrepreneurship. He was fascinated by ideas that could solve problems and create opportunities. Rather than focusing on obstacles, he spent much of his time looking for possibilities. One of the qualities that separated Matt from many of his peers was his willingness to take risks. He understood that success often required stepping into uncertain territory. While others preferred stability, Matt was attracted to challenges that offered the chance for significant rewards. During these years, he pursued various entrepreneurial ventures and business opportunities. Some projects performed well, while others failed to meet expectations. Each experience became another lesson in understanding markets, customers, and the realities of running a business. Matt also developed an interest in technology at a time when the industry was experiencing rapid growth. He worked in software-related and technology-focused environments that exposed him to new ways of thinking about business and innovation. These experiences helped him develop valuable skills in communication, sales, problem-solving, and strategic planning. The technology sector offered opportunities that many industries had never provided before. Companies were expanding quickly, and individuals with creativity and determination could often advance faster than traditional career paths allowed. Matt embraced that environment. He learned how to identify opportunities, build professional relationships, and present ideas effectively. Even when projects encountered difficulties, he rarely viewed setbacks as permanent defeats. Instead, he treated them as education. Like many entrepreneurs, Matt experienced periods of financial success, as well as moments of disappointment. Some ventures generated income and opened new doors. Others produced unexpected losses and forced difficult decisions. Those experiences taught him one of the most important lessons in business. Success is rarely a straight line. Every setback carried a price, but it also carried knowledge. Over time, Matt developed a stronger understanding of risk management, negotiation, and long-term planning. He learned that resilience in business often mattered just as much as intelligence or talent. Friends and colleagues increasingly noticed his ability to think creatively when confronted with problems. While many people focused on why something could not be done, Matt often concentrated on finding ways to make it happen. That mindset became one of his defining characteristics. The more experience he gained, the larger his ambitions became. Matt wasn't simply interested in earning a paycheck. He wanted to build something meaningful, something that would leave a lasting impact on the people around him. He envisioned projects that combined creativity, business strategy, and personal passion. These ambitions eventually influenced one of the most important decisions of his life. As his career evolved, Matt began thinking beyond conventional business success. He imagined creating environments and experiences that families could enjoy together. He dreamed about projects that reflected his personality and imagination rather than simply generating revenue. Those ideas would later become central to the vision that transformed the Roloff family farm into a destination recognized by thousands of visitors. Yet none of that had happened yet. At this stage of his life, television fame was nowhere on the horizon. There were no producers, no television crews, and no reality show contracts waiting around the corner. Instead, there was simply a determined entrepreneur working to build a future through persistence, creativity, and calculated risk-taking. Every business success strengthened his confidence. Every failure sharpened his judgment. Every challenge reinforced the resilience he had been developing since childhood. Without realizing it, Matt was laying the foundation for everything that would follow. The skills he acquired in sales, technology, entrepreneurship, and leadership would eventually prove invaluable when opportunities emerged that few could have predicted. The businessman who existed before reality television was already ambitious, already driven, and already committed to thinking bigger than the circumstances around him. And soon, a new chapter would begin, one that would not only change Matt's future, but would also introduce his family to millions of viewers across America. As the Roloff children grew older and began building lives of their own, a new chapter emerged for the family. For years, viewers had watched the children run through the fields, help with pumpkin season, and participate in countless projects around the farm. Many fans naturally assumed that one day the property would pass to the next generation. But as adulthood arrived, so did different priorities, different goals, and different visions for the future. For Matt, the farm had always represented much more than land. It was the result of decades of work, creativity, financial investment, and personal sacrifice. Every castle, bridge, tower, and attraction reflected years of planning and determination. From his perspective, the farm was a business as much as it was a family home. Meanwhile, some family members appeared to view the property through a different lens. To them, the farm carried emotional significance. It was the place where they had grown up, celebrated milestones, and created memories that stretched back to childhood. Those differing viewpoints gradually became one of the most significant sources of tension within the family. As discussions about the future of the farm intensified, fans began noticing signs that not everyone was on the same page. Questions arose regarding ownership, succession, and whether one of the children would eventually take over operations. The situation became increasingly public when negotiations involving portions of the farm failed to produce an agreement that satisfied everyone involved. Expectations, financial realities, and personal perspectives appeared to clash in ways that proved difficult to overcome. For viewers who had spent years watching the family work together, the disagreements were surprising and emotional. The conflict highlighted a challenge faced by many family-owned businesses. What happens when parents and children share the same dream but envision different paths toward achieving it? The answer is often far more complicated than outsiders realize. As conversations surrounding the property became public, emotions ran high. Family members openly expressed disappointment, frustration, and sadness regarding how events unfolded. Interviews and television episodes revealed differing accounts of discussions that had taken place behind closed doors. Each side appeared to believe its position was reasonable, while also feeling misunderstood by the others. The emotional impact extended far beyond business decisions. At its core, the disagreement was about relationships. The farm represented memories, identity, and family history. As a result, discussions about ownership carried emotional weight that exceeded simple financial calculations. Decisions involving property often became intertwined with feelings of trust, recognition, and belonging. For Matt, the situation was particularly difficult because the farm had become one of the defining achievements of his life. The idea of determining its future involved balancing practical business concerns with deeply personal family relationships. The challenges were further magnified by public scrutiny. Because the family had spent years sharing their lives on television, millions of viewers felt invested in the outcome. Fans debated the situation online, analyzed interviews, and formed strong opinions regarding who was right and who was wrong. Social media became filled with discussions about fairness, expectations, and family dynamics. Some viewers sympathized with Matt, arguing that he had every right to make business decisions regarding property he had spent decades developing. Others believed the next generation should have been given greater opportunities to carry on the family legacy. The intense public reaction demonstrated just how emotionally connected audiences had become to the Roloff family's story. Media coverage expanded as the controversy continued. Articles, interviews, and television episodes frequently revisited the issue, keeping the debate alive long after initial disagreements became public knowledge. Every new statement seemed to generate additional speculation about the future of both the farm and family relationships. At the center of the controversy was a question that many family businesses eventually face. What does legacy truly mean? Is legacy preserving a business exactly as it exists? Is it passing ownership to the next generation? Or is it allowing each generation to pursue its own vision, even if that means moving in a different direction? For the Roloffs, there appeared to be no easy answer. The differing perspectives reflected broader questions about family expectations, independence, and personal ambition. What one person viewed as practical decision-making, another might interpret as a missed opportunity or broken expectation. As time passed, the tensions surrounding the farm continued to influence family interactions. Relationships that once appeared effortless became more complicated. Family gatherings carried added emotional weight. Conversations about the future often seemed overshadowed by unresolved feelings from the past. Despite these challenges, many fans remained hopeful that healing and reconciliation would eventually occur. After all, the Roloffs had faced adversity before. Over the years, they had navigated health struggles, business setbacks, changing relationships, and major life transitions. Their ability to endure difficult circumstances had long been a central theme of their story. Yet the farm controversy represented something different. Unlike a construction project or business challenge, family conflicts cannot always be solved with determination alone. They require understanding, compromise, communication, and time. Today, questions surrounding the long-term future of the farm continue to generate discussion among viewers. The property's future remains closely connected to broader questions about family relationships, personal goals, and the legacy Matt hopes to leave behind. For many observers, the controversy has become one of the most emotional and defining chapters in the Roloff family's journey, a reminder that even the strongest families can face difficult disagreements when history, business, and personal dreams collide. And while the future remains uncertain, one thing is clear. The story of the Roloff farm is no longer just about land or buildings. It has become a symbol of family, legacy, and the complicated reality of deciding what comes next. As we reach the end of Matt Roloff's remarkable journey, one thing becomes clear. His story has never been simple. From the very beginning, Matt faced challenges that many people could scarcely imagine. Born with a rare form of dwarfism, he endured countless surgeries, physical obstacles, and moments when others may have doubted what he could accomplish. Yet time and again, he refused to allow those limitations to define him. Instead, he transformed adversity into motivation, building a life driven by determination, creativity, and an unwavering belief that bigger dreams were always possible. Long before television cameras arrived, Matt had already established himself as an entrepreneur willing to take risks, embrace innovation, and pursue opportunities wherever he found them. Those qualities would eventually help turn a small family property into the famous Roloff Farms and introduce the Roloff family to millions of viewers around the world through Little People, Big World. But as viewers have witnessed over the years, success often comes with complications. Family relationships evolved. Children grew into adults with dreams and goals of their own. Difficult decisions surrounding the future of the farm created disagreements that became increasingly public. Fans watched emotional conversations unfold, alliances shift, and tensions emerge between people who once appeared inseparable. These developments have sparked passionate debate among viewers. Some believe Matt made the best decisions he could under difficult circumstances. Others feel certain choices contributed to painful divisions within the family. Regardless of where people stand, the discussions highlight just how invested audiences have become in the Roloff story and how deeply these family dynamics have resonated with viewers. What cannot be denied is the impact Matt Roloff has had. Through his television career, advocacy, business ventures, and personal perseverance, he helped bring greater visibility to people with dwarfism while inspiring countless individuals facing challenges of their own. His willingness to dream big encouraged others to believe that obstacles do not have to determine a person's future. Today, the Roloff family stands at another crossroads. Relationships continue to evolve, new chapters are being written, and questions surrounding the future legacy of the farm remain unanswered. The story is still unfolding, and only time will reveal how these family relationships ultimately develop and what place Roloff Farms will hold in future generations. Perhaps that is the reason Matt Roloff's story continues to captivate audiences after so many years. It is not merely a story about fame, business success, or reality television. It is a story about resilience, ambition, family, triumph, disappointment, and the complicated realities that exist behind every public image. As the next chapter begins, one question continues to linger. When history looks back on Matt Roloff's life, what legacy will define him most? The entrepreneur, the dreamer, the television personality, the father, or the builder who transformed a vision into something millions would come to know? Only time can answer that question. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective on Matt Roloff's journey and what you believe his lasting legacy will be. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.